Have you ever noticed that as you age, you find yourself visiting others less frequently? Perhaps you were once the life of the social scene, always dropping by to see friends, attending every event, and keeping a packed calendar. Over time, however, something shifts. You pause before heading out, weighing whether the effort feels worthwhile, and those casual visits no longer seem as essential. The truth is, this change is perfectly natural and valid. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore 6 authentic reasons why I've scaled back on visiting others. These aren't about becoming reclusive or pushing people away. They reflect a deeper understanding of how priorities evolve, relationships transform, and the way you choose to spend your time becomes more intentional. If you've felt this shift, but struggled to put it into words, this will resonate deeply. Stay with us until the end, as these insights might reshape how you view your relationships and empower you to make choices with confidence, peace, and a renewed sense of self. 1. Prioritizing energy for meaningful interactions. As you grow older, you come to realize that your energy is a precious, finite resource. Tasks that once felt effortless, driving across town, engaging in hours of conversation, or attending every social gathering, now demand more physical and mental effort. It's not that you've lost your desire to connect with others, but you become more discerning about how you allocate your time and energy. You begin to ask yourself, who are the people who truly enrich my life? In your younger years, socializing often revolved around maintaining a wide network of acquaintances, staying visible, and keeping up with social obligations. But with age, a subtle yet profound shift occurs. You start to value quality over quantity in your relationships. How many times have you dragged yourself to an event out of duty, only to return home exhausted, wishing you'd stayed in? You sit through conversations that feel superficial, spend time with people who don't truly understand you, and leave feeling drained rather than uplifted. At some point, you recognize that your time is too valuable to spend on interactions that don't nourish your soul. Take Frank, a 70-year-old retiree who once felt guilty declining invitations, fearing he'd seem uncaring. Over time, he noticed that his closest friends didn't need frequent visits to maintain their bond. By focusing his energy on these meaningful relationships, socializing transformed from a chore into a source of genuine joy. He began hosting small gatherings with his inner circle, prioritizing deep conversations over casual catch-ups. This shift isn't about isolating yourself. It's about making intentional choices. True connections don't require you to be everywhere or see everyone. They thrive on mutual appreciation and respect for each other's time. To apply this in your life, reflect on the relationships that leave you energized and fulfilled. Consider reaching out to those individuals for a heartfelt phone call or a relaxed coffee date rather than spreading yourself thin across numerous obligations. By prioritizing energy for those who matter most, you cultivate a social life that feels authentic and rewarding, ensuring every interaction adds value to your days. 2. Avoiding unnecessary stress and drama. One of the greatest lessons of aging is learning that not every social interaction is worth compromising your peace of mind. In your younger days, you might have tolerated gossip, petty disputes, or negative personalities to maintain harmony or avoid conflict. But as you age, your patience for drama wanes, and you become fiercely protective of your emotional well-being. It's not that you care less about others, it's that you no longer have the energy to endure interactions that leave you stressed, frustrated, or emotionally depleted. You start questioning the value of visits that involve family tensions, snide remarks, or repetitive arguments that never resolve. Why put yourself through that when your peace is so precious? Have you ever left a social gathering feeling emotionally wrung out? Perhaps you endured a dinner dominated by complaints, or visited someone out of obligation, only to be met with negativity or criticism. You come to realize that time spent in toxic environments is a time you'll never reclaim. And in your later years, every moment matters. Take Helen, a 68-year-old who used to visit certain relatives regularly. Despite the emotional toll, each visit was fraught with tension. Arguments simmered, and she felt unappreciated. Finally, she decided to stop subjecting herself to those dynamics, choosing instead to spend time with people who made her feel valued and welcomed. For the first time in years, socializing became a source of joy rather than dread. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's an act of wisdom. You owe no one your presence if it comes at the cost of your happiness. And true friends won't expect you to endure negativity to prove your care. To implement this, identify relationships or settings that consistently leave you drained and set boundaries, such as limiting visits or politely declining invitations. Communicate your needs kindly but firmly, and seek out connections that foster positivity and mutual respect. By prioritizing your emotional health, You create space for interactions that uplift rather than undermine, allowing you to live with greater ease and contentment. If these insights are resonating, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're engaged. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so and turning on notifications to stay updated with our content. Your support fuels our mission to create inspiring and thought-provoking guides. Let's move forward. 3. Finding comfort in familiar spaces. There's an unparalleled comfort in the home you've crafted over the years. A personal haven where you can unwind, reflect, and be your truest self. As you age, this sanctuary becomes increasingly valuable, often surpassing the appeal of leaving to visit others. The effort of dressing up, driving across town, making small talk, and adapting to someone else's environment feels less compelling than it once did. This isn't about avoiding people. It's about cherishing the tranquility and familiarity of your own space. In youth, there's a drive to be constantly on the move, seeking out social events and new experiences. But with age, you discover that staying home can be profoundly fulfilling, offering a peace that's hard to find elsewhere. There's a quiet joy in starting your day in your own bed, sipping coffee from a cherished mug, and knowing you can shape your day exactly as you wish. There's no pressure to entertain, no need to navigate another schedule, just the comfort of a space tailored to you. For some, visiting others means enduring environments that feel chaotic, noisy, or simply uncomfortable. Perhaps the seating isn't supportive, the atmosphere feels foreign, or the pace is too frenetic. Your comfort matters more than societal expectations. And if staying home brings greater joy, that's a choice worth honoring. Take Bill, a 72-year-old who once felt obligated to accept every invitation but grew restless during visits. The noise and distractions of others' homes left him counting the minutes until he could leave. He began inviting friends to his home instead, creating a social space where he felt at ease. Socializing became something he looked forward to, not something he endured. To embrace this comfort, consider hosting gatherings on your terms. Perhaps a small dinner or coffee with close friends. If visiting feels daunting, suggest virtual catch-ups or phone calls to stay connected without leaving your sanctuary. Your home is a reflection of your life's work, a place where you feel safe and in control. Choosing to spend more time there isn't isolation. It's a celebration of the comfort you've earned, allowing you to live with authenticity and peace, or preferring quality over quantity in social life. In your younger years, socializing often feels like a numbers game. The more friends, invitations, and events, the more connected you appear. But as you age, you realize that true fulfillment stems not from the size of your social circle, but from the depth of your relationships. Instead of visiting others just to maintain appearances, you choose to invest in fewer, more meaningful connections. There's no need to sustain shallow friendships, impress others, or cling to relationships that lack substance. You focus on those who bring genuine joy, trust, and mutual understanding. People who don't require constant visits to stay close. Reflect on the acquaintances you've had over the years, those you saw out of habit, convenience, or obligation. How many truly enriched your life? As you grow older, you stop feeling compelled to maintain connections that feel hollow. Take Nancy, a 66-year-old who once felt pressured to visit everyone to avoid being forgotten. She worried that scaling back would weaken her friendships, but she discovered that her closest friends didn't need frequent check-ins. Their bond remained strong, and reunions felt effortless. Even after months apart, by prioritizing quality relationships, her social life became less about duty and more about fulfillment. She began scheduling intentional time with those who mattered most, like long walks with a best friend or heartfelt letters to distant loved ones. Choosing quality over quantity doesn't mean cutting people off. It's about letting go of connections that feel forced and nurturing those that uplift you. To apply this, list the people who make you feel valued and focus on strengthening those bonds through meaningful gestures. Whether a thoughtful call or a shared activity you both enjoy, true friendships are measured by the warmth and connection they bring, not the frequency of your visits, allowing you to build a social life that's rich in authenticity and joy. If you're finding these insights valuable, comment number 4 below to let me know you're with us. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay informed. Your support keeps us creating content to inform and inspire. Let's explore the next reason. A shift in priorities and personal reflection. Aging brings a profound shift in perspective, where the things that once seemed paramount, staying socially active, being seen, or keeping up with a crowd, lose their urgency. Instead, you focus on what truly matters: peace, fulfillment, and living in alignment with your deepest values. Visiting others just to check a social box no longer feels necessary as you prioritize self-care, personal growth, and savoring the present moment. Some find joy in rediscovering hobbies like painting or gardening, others in reading long-neglected books, and many in the quiet reflection of a life well lived. You recognize that time is a limited gift, and you choose activities that bring meaning and contentment. How often have you done things out of habit rather than genuine desire? In youth, you might have felt compelled to accept every invitation, driven by social expectations or fear of missing out. But now, you have the freedom to choose differently, embracing what resonates with your heart. Take Robert, a 75-year-old who was once a social dynamo, always present at events and gatherings. As he aged, he found greater peace in solitude, spending mornings on quiet walks, reading historical novels, and reflecting on his life's journey. Instead of visiting to maintain appearances, he embraced activities that brought personal fulfillment, like journaling his memories for his grandchildren. This shift wasn't about withdrawing, it was about honoring himself and his evolving priorities. To embrace this change, identify one or two activities that spark joy or curiosity. Whether it's learning a new skill, volunteering, or simply sitting in your garden with a cup of tea, schedule time for these pursuits as you would a social visit, treating them as vital to your well-being. By prioritizing what feels meaningful, you craft a life that reflects your true self, whether that's through time with loved ones, solo exploration, or the serene calm of aging gracefully. This intentional approach ensures your days are filled with purpose and peace, free from the pressure of outdated social norms. 6. Recognizing true friendships. Don't need frequent visits. One of the most liberating realizations of aging is that the strongest friendships don't hinge on constant visits or regular check-ins. In your younger years, relationships often seem to require frequent contact to stay vibrant. You called often, visited regularly, and went out of your way to keep up. But with age, you understand that true connections endure despite time or distance. Life naturally pulls people apart. Families grow. Priorities shift. Routines change. But the relationships that matter are built on mutual respect, understanding, and a bond that remains steadfast without constant reinforcement. Think of friends you haven't seen in months or even years. Yet when you reconnect, it feels like no time has passed. These are the connections that define true friendship. Conversely, you may have spent time visiting people out of obligation, only to realize those relationships lack depth or mutual care. Take Eleanor, a 69-year-old who once felt guilty for not visiting enough, fearing her friendships would fade. To her surprise, her closest friends never minded the gaps. They understood life's demands and valued their bond beyond physical presence. She shifted to meaningful gestures, like sending handwritten notes or scheduling occasional video calls, which deepened her connections without the pressure of frequent visits. Eleanor also learned to recognize when guilt came from others' expectations rather than her own values, prompting her to reevaluate relationships that felt one-sided. To nurture true friendships, focus on quality interactions, send a thoughtful message, share a memory, or plan a meaningful meetup when it feels right. If someone makes you feel guilty for not visiting enough, consider whether that relationship aligns with your vision of mutual respect. True friendships offer comfort and understanding, thriving on authenticity rather than obligation. By embracing this truth, you free yourself from the need to prove your loyalty through constant presence, creating space for connections that endure effortlessly. If this section resonates, comment number 6 below to let me know you're with us. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support fuels our mission to inform and inspire. Let's wrap up with some final thoughts. As you reflect on these 6 reasons for visiting less often, recognize that this shift is a natural and empowering part of aging. Whether it's conserving energy for meaningful relationships, protecting your peace from stress and drama, cherishing the comfort of your home, prioritizing quality over quantity, embracing new personal priorities, or understanding that true friendships don't need constant visits, these changes reflect wisdom and intentionality. Aging grants you the freedom to live on your own terms, unburdened by the pressure to meet others' expectations or maintain outdated social habits. You're not withdrawing from life. You're curating a life that aligns with your deepest values, filled with moments that bring joy, peace, and fulfillment. Your worth isn't measured by how often you show up at someone's door, but by the authenticity and care you bring to the relationships you choose to nurture. The people who truly matter will understand that friendship and love transcend physical presence, valuing your connection in ways that feel mutual and effortless. As you move forward, consider how you can apply these insights. Perhaps you'll set boundaries with draining relationships, schedule time for a cherished hobby, or reach out to a dear friend with a heartfelt gesture. Whatever you choose, let it be guided by what feels right for you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below, sharing one key takeaway from this guide, and how you plan to apply it in your life. Maybe you're inspired to host a small gathering at home, say no to a stressful invitation, or reconnect with a true friend in a meaningful way. Your insights motivate us and build a community of reflection and growth. If you found this guide helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with friends or family who might benefit. Your support enables us to continue creating content that informs, inspires, and empowers. Thank you for joining us on this journey to a more intentional and fulfilling life. We look forward to connecting with you in our next guide.